The S-Corp election saves real money on self-employment tax. The election also costs real money to operate. Both numbers have to be on the page before the election decision makes sense, and most coaches see only one side. The savings number is what blog posts headline. The cost number, CPA fee increase, payroll service, additional bookkeeping discipline, state-specific traps, is what gets discovered after Form 2553 is already filed. This unit puts both numbers on the page, so the math pencils before the election, not after. The methodology is portable. The threshold where the math flips is local to your state and your CPA's fee structure. The savings come from the SS portion of self-employment tax that you don't pay on the distribution, 12.4% on every dollar labeled distribution instead of salary. On a $40,000 distribution, that's roughly $4,980 in maximum SS savings before any costs are subtracted. That's the gross number. It's real. But gross is not the same as net, and the net number is the only one that should drive the decision. Below a certain income, the costs of running the S-Corp eat the savings and the net number turns negative. You're paying to elect. Around 50 to 80,000 of net income, the math rarely pencils. Around 80 to 100,000 it starts to. The cost stack is consistent. 800 to 1,500 a year extra for the 1120S return. Your CPA charges more for a corporate return than a Schedule C. 600 to 1,200 a year for payroll service to handle the W-2 mechanics. Bookkeeping complexity adds an additional hour or two per month of monthly close. The exact crossover number depends on your CPA's fees, your state, your payroll vendor, and your appetite for the operational overhead. The CPA conversation is what calibrates the number for you specifically. What the election actually adds to your operational stack is a list, not a single decision. Separate 1120S return, prepared by your CPA, not a Schedule C tucked into your personal 1040. K1 flowing out of the 1120S into your personal return. Monthly or biweekly payroll runs through software, which means salary versus distribution tracking in the books on a per-period basis. Form 2553 election filing once, and possibly an amendment to your LLC operating agreement to support the corporate election. Annual report filing and entity maintenance specific to your state. None of these are crushing on their own. The stack of them is what coaches underestimate. State-specific traps change the math more than coaches expect, and the headline federal number is misleading until you net them in. California, $800 minimum franchise tax annually, payable the day you form, plus a 1.5% net income tax on S-Corp earnings. Texas, margin tax above the no tax due threshold, around $2.47 million in 2024, so most coaches are clear of it. New York City, general corporation tax on S-Corp with city source income, which erodes the federal-only savings estimate materially for coaches doing business there. Always ask your CPA for the after-state tax comparison. The federal headline is not the deciding number. The Don't Elect Yet decision tree is 4 questions, and any no in the tree means defer and revisit. 1. Is your net SE income consistently above $80,000? If no, defer. 2. Have you engaged a CPA who has actually run S-Corp returns for service business solo owners? If no, engage one first, because the methodology shifts under inexperienced preparation. 3. Have you run the after-state tax savings against the total added costs and confirmed the net is positive? If no, don't elect. 4. Is your income projected to cross the threshold soon? If yes, flag the election as a near-term decision and have the math ready for the moment. Marcus is a composite of the most common over-elect too early pattern, and California is where the pattern hits hardest. Year 2 of his practice, 72,000 net income files Form 2553 after reading a blog post about SE tax savings. The federal math looks great on paper, roughly 3,720 in SS savings on the distribution. Then the costs land. California $800 minimum franchise tax. California 1.5% of 72,000, another 1080. CPA fee increase $1,200, payroll service $720, total annual cost $3,800, net benefit negative $80. Marcus is paying $80 a year for the privilege of running an S-Corp. Where the math flips for Marcus and where it would have flipped if he'd run the tree first. At 120,000 of net income with a 75,000 reasonable salary and a 45,000 distribution, the SS savings alone climbs to 5,580. The CPA and payroll costs are already in place at that point. They don't scale up materially with income. The election starts paying. Marcus's mistake wasn't electing wrong. His mistake was electing before he had the math on the page. The election is reversible, but the reversal involves administrative friction and another conversation with the CPA. The free version is to defer until the tree's 4 questions all return yes. Run the decision tree against your actual numbers before the next video, even if you've already elected and need to confirm the math holds up. Open the S-Corp Don't Elect Yet decision tree. Walk the 4 questions against your current income, your state's specific S-Corp cost layer, your CPA's quoted $1120 fee, and your payroll vendor's annual subscription. If the math nets out negative or unclear, bring the worksheet to your CPA and ask them to run the after-state tax comparison line by line. If you've already elected and the math nets negative, that's a separate conversation about revocation timing. Also CPA territory, also not a self-serve decision.